Okay, folks, well, welcome to yet another new edition of the Inworld Review. That little clip you just saw was meant to symbolize the fact we're going to take you on a wild ride, but it wasn't really that wild. But that video came from a chap called Alan Scott, somewhere in OpenSim anyway, and it demonstrates the way you can script. In this case, it's a sort of fairground sort of ride thing, and it's all done with sort of scripting and you can get people to sit inside these little cars, and then once they're sat down, the car takes them where you want to go. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing spectacularly new, but good kind of stuff. Anyway, you are now listening. Sorry, is that an echo of me or what? Something,
No echo
something.
here, sir.
Oh, okay. I think it's getting coming from my end. I must admit. Right. This is Inworld Review. My name is Mal Burns, and I'm joined by my regular co-host and guest. Next to me here, on my right, we have James Atlloud, who's the wizard man with all the knobs and video, sound, everything else, engineering, and occasionally we allow him to talk, don't we, James?
Oh, occasionally, sometimes you let me out of the cage, and I'm free to wander. But I have my lovely hat on again from previous time with the
Indeed,
in-world review on it.
very,
Thank you, Thirza.
very cute it is. And next to me on my left-hand side, of course, it's my co-host, none other than Thirza Ember. Welcome, Thirza.
Thank you, Mal. Nice to be here.
Now, we are going to be looking a little bit later at, with our guests at the ArtDestiny Grid. And joining me on the seats here, as it were, or the couch rather, I have Loru Destiny. Welcome, Loru.
Yeah, hello.
I have Moses Ray. Welcome, Moses.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And I have Stormy Scorpio. Welcome, Stormy.
Thank you.
Now, we'll be really looking at the ArtDestiny Grid in general a little bit later. Obviously, Moses, we'll probably have you back as a musical guest at some point.
Oh, yes, please. I love his music. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
we both checked out SoundCloud there and we loved it. And Stormy, will probably have you back too, if it's okay. To let's just say the aerial part of your work as opposed to the ground level part of your work.
Right.
We didn't get the required film of Up in the Sky ready in time. My fault entirely, but it's called what they call missing landmarks. Anyway, we will come to that after we've had a look at the sort of general news. Now, as I saw, we looked at that little roller coaster just now. Right, that's all for. Hang on a second. Okay, that's okay. That's all for later in the show. So, right, I think. Where was I? Ah, no, this is going back to Safari again. And then, right, okay, sorry, I'm just looking through all my bits and pieces here. Okay, looking at the latest news coming up, as it were, in OpenSim. Tessa can probably tell us a little bit more about this. I'm loading it now into, hang on, why is it not showing everything? That's a bit more like it. Right, are you a fishing ace? This was a publication from Tangle Grid. Of course, we had Tangle Grid on the show not so long a while ago. And it's all about fishing. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more, Thurza. You sent me the
Yes,
link.
this is a great site. It's worth bookmarking because Tangle Grid has all kinds of little things happening all over the place, lots of fun. And this is a particular thing they're doing, which is a fishing competition where you can get points, you can win badges, and it's just a fun way to interact with other people on OpenSim. So lots of levels of fishing are available. If you like to fish, that's great. If you just like to win, that's also great. And so it's a fun site to keep in mind. They're periodical of Tangle Grid, which is obviously one of the oldest grids in OpenSim.
Sure, I'm just going to click straight through on that to see if it loads. Yeah, there we are. That's the actual site as you would see it if you were going there. So catch a fish for cash. Cash. Yeah, account access and everything else. I guess this is go in world and get a fish heads up display, basically. Did
Why
it
not?
earn cash? Oh, well, this would be virtual cash, so I don't think it really costs anything. Unlike some of these metaversey so-called things on the web. Yes, you
Don't
can.
mention those.
Well, I might as well mention them because I saw one the other
Mm.
day. It was like a tiny little sim with a sort of cartoony world, and you pay $100 to visit it for half an hour. Yeah, people obviously never seen what you can get for free in OpenSim. Right, okay, so that was that one. Also, the other link you sent me here is neverworldgrid.com and their new marketplace. So,
Yes. Now, if you're an old bee like I am in OpenSim, you will remember Vanish Seriath, who had OpenSim Creations. It was a site that he had going around 2009, 2010, and it was a way to share creations that were in Mesh or even in Prim, so OBJ files, and you could basically you download them onto your computer and then you can upload them in World, so they become yours. So Govega over on Neverworld Grid, she wants to revive this idea, and at the moment I think it's limited to people who have a Neverworld account, but obviously anybody can get one of those, and so that's what she's working on right now. So it's very exciting. It's a form of marketplace where you get to have the content on your computer and then do as you please with it. So obviously it's limited to certain kinds of things, but it's lovely to see this idea revived after about a decade.
well, I've
And
got
of course, no money is involved once again.
Yeah, well, this I put this one up as an example now. The sci-fi cyberpunk tab looks like it costs $2, which I presume
Oh,
it.
yes, sorry, some of the stuff does,
I
but
presume
mostly it's
that
free.
I presume it's stuff you pay by PayPal rather than in world
Yeah,
currency.
I believe so. Yeah.
And then you get an OBJ file or whatever to upload. No, rather nice. Yeah, and I do remember that other place.
Yeah, Vanish. It's been a long time since we heard his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, okay, let me just remove these items so I can see the other ones I've got for later, which is more about Safari and stuff. Whoops, got a black screen. No, nobody at home there can see it. Also, a quick plug if you ever want to know where to go in OpenSim, we've got opensimworld.com here, opensimworld.com. And obviously, you can look up regions and you can choose the latest regions. You can look up events, and that's the kind of calendar. I often have regions open in the background because I can see what's live, or I can look at the latest things or the most popular ones and other various categories like everything from architecture to role playing, basically. So a little plug for them too, while we're here, so to speak. And with that, I'm going to quickly move across here to, we will be featuring this a bit later. But I got two pictures here, which were actually taken at the second stop of Safari during the week. They're just still photos, but they're all those musical instruments and the chorus of cats, which you probably can't see of cats at the bottom. They're all interactive, and we were treated to like a concert which was played on all these astonishing instruments. And we'll have a little sample when we look at the end of the program when we look back on Safari. And I think it was Leah Lobo sent me these two actually, because that is Thirza
Oh, look at that with Leah. Yeah, there she is.
with Leah. Yeah,
How
while
lovely.
while I was busy filming otherwise, so I thought we'd show you that. Okay, well, I'll keep that up for the moment. Without further ado, we're going to go to our little special segment, which we record, and we take this out of the show as a separate item to put on Facebook on the our site there. And it's a little section we call Hypergrid Happenings. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to, I'm going to hand over to the theme music first, then Thirza Ember with Hypergrid Happenings.
Yes, here we are. Hypergrid Happenings, shamelessly stolen from Stranic Zipper, the name, which is the same name as he has on his Facebook group which you could join and find out what's going on the hypergrid. But this is just a collection of one or two things that will be happening this week. Number one, just to mention a big, huge happy birthday to everybody in Dorina's world. Today is the last day of their week-long celebration for 13 years online.
Whoa.
Yes, and that's something. So they are celebrating tonight. They did a big celebration also yesterday, and we wish them another 13 years at least, maybe much more. We're going to be seeing those guys in a couple of weeks' time, so I'm looking forward to that. The next thing was yesterday. This opened over on Craft Grid. It's an AI exhibition of art that represents women. It's by Fiona Simon, and it's really beautiful. If you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely go. It will be open for a couple of weeks, and it's on Craft Grid on Ukbar 2. We'll put the links to that. We'll get Mal to put the links to all these places in the comments so that you can find them. This is really beautiful, and she's got a system so that you can just sit down and have the images scroll in front of you. She's done something incredible with the images of women of all ages and in all ages, if you can imagine that, through history, but also older women and younger women. It's very beautiful, very imaginative, and if you do like AI art, you will love this. So really worth going to see. Of course, can't miss mentioning great friends over there on Wildwood Biogrid. They have a load of events, usually dance events, and I just wanted to mention this one. Be later on today, so if you're watching the show right now and you're going to be online a little bit later on in the day, go over and hear DJ Rosa. But there's also, of course, Kith, Macy. They will do a fantastic job of DJing, and there's such a wonderful atmosphere over on Wildwood. So this happens every week, but it's not to be missed. There's the address. It's just called Wildwood Bayou, the Sims, so it's really easy to find. And then this is a big deal that's coming up. It's going to be on Pangea Grid. It's Bubble Land. It's a big opening. It's going to be on the 28th of January, which is, I think, next Saturday. It's at 11 o'clock Second Life time. This is by Nick Spreen. It's a little bit in memory of course, our friend who died recently, so Veritas McMaster. But it's by Nick's, and it's very uplifting, so you'll enjoy it very much. There's going to be a DJ there, Marlon Wen, who's the co-owner of Pangea, so it's going to be a great show. And so that's just a few of the things that are happening around OpenSim. There's many more. If you would like to share your event on this show and have a poster shown during the program, please contact me. I'd be happy to mention it. As you can see written right there, any project, party, opening, or class that you might have, any special event, we'd be really happy to feature it on Hypergrid Happenings.
Well, there we go. As it says, do contact her if you have anything we should be sharing on that. She didn't say where to contact her. I mean, Facebook seems to be quite a good place for Hypergrid Happenings itself. But there are so many Thirza Embers. I think whatever grid you're on, all you've got to do is click on the search button and search for Thirza Ember, and one of them will turn up.
Sad but true.
Yes. But you'll have no problem.
The Facebook is good, Discord is good. You can find me on OpenSim World, and you can join even the HG Safari has a group there, which we just started working with the new feature on OpenSim World, which is chat. So you can find me there. Just drop a line in chat or send me a private message. They're all good. Even we will find me pretty easily too.
Wonderful. Well, I think it's now time to move across to our guests. All of them, of course, from ArtDestiny Grid, which is the address, the login, I guess, is artdestiny.de. So DE is what, Holland, Netherlands, am I right?
That's
That's
Germany.
Deutschland.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's Deutschland. Oh,
Yeah.
naughty me. I don't know why I thought it was Netherlands. Okay. Well, that's the first goof of the show, isn't it? I better depart. Get to it. Um, okay. I think the first thing to actually chat about, I think, is the founding of the Art Destiny Grid. How it all came about, when it all came about, and everything about it in the general sense. Then we'll have a look at some specific things. Let me see, Loru. You seem to be the ideal person because you're the one with a surname that matches the grid.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm the German one, the only German one
Right.
in ArtDestiny DE. Because, yes, because we are 4 people and 3 nations and represent 3 nations. Stormy and Moses from USA and me from Germany and my dear hubby from England. Yes, and we had Art Destiny EU, but I had to change the server and the system, and so we had to find another name. But I didn't want to lose Art Destiny because I like it very much. Because we all love art, music, or painting, or whatever. And Destiny is the last name of me and my hubby.
It's a beautiful name. I like it. It's very uplifting. It's a great name.
Yes, I like it too. And I think Stormy and we are friends. Stormy, how long?
Oh, 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Yeah.
We
Yes.
met in Second Life.
Yes.
Both Loru and Tryad. We met in Second Life, and Moses was out there, and we were all in one community out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Open Sim, and first to
Yeah.
Osgrid.
Yeah.
So
You-
who
you-
convinced
you-
who to come to Open Sim?
Oh, Loru and Tryad pulled me out first, and then I dragged my husband out.
Yeah, it was.
And we
Was
love
there
it
any-
out here.
Why was there any compelling reason why you moved? Apart from probably the money, moved from Second Life to Open Sim, or and particularly OS Grid.
I- Go ahead.
Yes, Tommy, please.
Sorry. Well, I was just really glad to be with Loru and Tryad again because we had done a lot on Second Life, and I was just glad to be around them again. I wanted to be with my friends.
Yes, and I wanted to be with Stormy and Moses, of course. So I convinced her. I started making my own dresses in SL, and it became really expensive. I didn't make any money there, so it only cost. And then Tryad, he told me that in OpenSim you can easily up and download textures and whatever, and
Yeah.
without any costs. And so I gave it a try.
Okay, well, while we're talking here now, I'm starting it up again. Actually, I've got some film, about 4 minutes worth of your region per se. It starts with there's this wonderful panorama, like it's a big, I think it's a big mesh outline, isn't it? And then in the middle, you've got the wild sort of the trees and the landscape for wandering, and then at the very centre, as we'll see in a minute, you've got your shops basically. Well, 2 shops with a linking corridor. Yeah, I guess a lot of this that we're looking at the moment is fairly cosmetic, so just standard trees and plants and stuff. But nice and moody, and I love these statues and things, the lovers in the field or whatever. But as I got on my notes here, I mean, your art and fashion are a main thing here. Obviously, did you design this region yourself, or is it just the shops that are really yours?
The shops, they are mine. Also, region is mine.
Yeah.
So the style of this sim, I must tell you, is a Stormy's style, because I learned from her, because she is a divine landscaper. I love her landscapes, and Yeah, inside the shops you see the creations, the outfits I made, and you can get them there.
The camera's going to come round and enter the shop in a minute, so you can talk about what we've got there as we come in. These are all your own designs, and I noticed there's a sign saying they're all your size or something. So don't complain if they don't fit you or something. But most
Yes,
of
yeah,
these,
yes.
these designs you're giving away, I guess, are you? For anybody
Well,
who
no, I think that's brilliant because it's so different from real life where so many of us ladies, we see a dress that we love and we're like, just can't fit in it. Oh dear. Unless we go on a really big diet. But of course, the difference is in OpenSim, you can just change your body to fit the dress. And there you go.
what we're looking at.
I'm
Yes.
wearing
Brilliant
one of
thing.
Laru's dresses.
Here we are.
It's a lovely one.
I've just paused on this for a couple of seconds to read it quick. So, favorite thing is creating fashion according to your taste and possibilities.
Yes, it's my This is in fact this is my closet, right? Closet, and I make the dresses for myself, but I like to share.
I like these boxes of yours. I guess the illustration on the boxes is past it now, but it's like a bit of Art Nouveau mixed with, I don't quite know, almost Japanese or something. I presume those are boxes, are they, that you pack things in? Your logo on them? Oops, gone quiet again.
Yeah. Sometimes I have difficulties to understand.
Oh,
I'm the German one here. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's me, I think I'm wonderfully eloquent, and then so many people complain they can't understand me. So, talking of whom,
No, it's true. That beautiful poster that you have, Loru, the poster with the woman, it looks
Yeah. This is
very
one.
pretty.
Yeah, this is one part of the fun because it's me, of course, my ava. It's not me, my ava. And then I can put a dress on and look for accessories and something like this and make a photo. It's all a big game, big fun for me. This creating the dresses, looking for textures, and making the photos and put them into the shop. This is my hobby. This is what I'm doing mostly here in ArtDestiny.
before we move on to the other bit of film, which is largely Stormy's region, I think, we actually have a slideshow here, which I'm actually, rather than have you operating it, we said I'd actually operate it Inworld. So I guess you can see the screen, can't you? Maybe you'd like to tell us a little about the pictures as I load them up. I know, I forget what order they're in. I think all yours are in one order and all Stormy's are in another. So I guess one of you can talk about them according to which one the
Yes,
picture is.
I can. It's ArtDestiny, and in ArtDestiny we also have two sims with art, original art from Tryad, and this sim is Norge, and it's originally in Pangea Grid because Tryad took part in this art festival they had last year, and I was allowed to take this OR to my grid too. And this is also the other fun I have, or what I'm very engaged in. I manage in my dear hubby, and it's art.
Very good.
And he is so talented. I love his
Oh,
pictures.
he's incredible. Yeah.
Okay, let's move to the next one. Very colourful.
Fashion, fashion, fashion.
Yes, this is fashion show. October last year, we had a big fashion show. We started about 3-4 months ago, before, and we had no concept, and we wanted to do everything by ourselves. We were several designers. This is a swimsuit made by Vivian Clary from Grid. And yes, and we also one of us, Marina and Kai from Public World, they built the location, and Kai he scripted, and yes, and we made a plan how we can model. We were at least 14 people um, um, creating or doing this or organizing this fashion show, and Spike he was a moderator, and it was a lot of work, but much fun.
Yeah.
And that's lovely how you involved all the different grids. That's a really important aspect, I think, that you managed
Yes,
to involve different
yes,
people from different places. No rivalry, no jealousy
yeah,
between the grids.
yeah. 9 grids. And I'm very, we are all very proud. We had our discussions, and it's a little bit complicated to stay in contact with all these people in the grids. You know, IAMs, they don't, you can't send IAMs when the people are offline, and you have to jump to the grid. And you know it, Thirza, huh? Well, it's very difficult. But we made it, and we had a big show, and we had 60 hours as guests.
Wow.
If you look very carefully, you can see just a few of them in the background on the other side of, I guess, the.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So, yeah. You also, this is a lovely texture. You've got a radio station, presumably. I love the
Yeah,
texturing.
That's
yes,
such a classic picture by ArtDestiny, isn't it? By Tryad.
yeah, yes, it is. So, yeah, Radio ArtDestiny is the other project. Last year, we found a radio station, and we broadcast every Sunday live from 11 a.m. to p.m. German time or European time. And it's a lot of fun. And we also broadcast on Thursdays evening. We have a party in Art Destiny, and it's live on our radio. You can listen to it on radio.
Fantastic.
All right. A moose. I've heard of a moose.
Yes, Ruth.
I think there's a moose.
Yes.
The moose I know doesn't look like that. She's prettier.
Yeah, but this is something we really love. This SL dresses we get. They are really perfect. Really absolutely perfect. Also the bodies and the hats we get from SL, they are perfect. But we also have this Ruth body, and I wear the Ruth 3, and it's really absolutely okay.
This is this is the Ruth and Roth thing, isn't it? As opposed to
Yes.
everybody, you know, when things go awry with an avatar, especially in Second Life, you call it being Ruthed. But this is a separate thing entirely.
No, not being
Yeah.
Ruth. And so yeah, and and most of my outfits can be worn with a Ruth Ava, or also with a classic Ava, but these are only a few because I lost many. At first I started with classic Ava dresses, so I have some in my inventory, but such a long time, many moving to other grids, and so I lost a few. And this is welcome to Loru sign. I'm telling a little bit about the shop. And what is very important, if you like the dress, you're welcome to take it. Please be fair. Don't pass them on or offer them in a store. This is something what many people do. They come to a beautiful place or to a shop, and they copy everything, and then they put these items in a shop. Why? Go on. This is what I have to say. Go on. You're in OpenSim. You can build here for free. Please build your own regions.
Fair
That's
enough.
right.
Fair enough. Yeah. And you know, some people complain about not being able to find things in OpenSim. People like us do our best, but you got to remember. I mean, I remember in the early days of OpenSim, what's her name, Linda Kelly. You know, everywhere you went, there was another copy of the Linda Kelly Superstore and all her free items, and everybody's got them. But it's a bit like certain places in Second Life. You just think it's the same. Everything is the same. You know, we want to go different places to see new things. You don't want
That's
to.
right.
You don't want somebody to say, come and see my grid, come see my grid, and there's lots of freebies in my stores. And you get there and say, yeah, been there, done that, seen that, what's new? Yeah. Anyway, that's the next picture. Clara. Right.
Yeah, it's an example what kind of dresses I make. And this is one Clara, I called it. This is also part of the fun to find a nice name. and this was a project was quite difficult to have the skirt shorter in the front.
Yes. Oh wow. Yes. So,
Yeah,
what would you describe your style to be, Loru? What are the? Do you make casual clothing, or do you tend more towards the elegant or sensual clothes? What's your thing?
Whatever I like, fantasy, gowns, casual, whatever I'm in the mood to. I sit there, I look for photos in internet, and I see a nice photo of a nice dress, and I think this is nice. I like to have it. So no style, nothing. No special style. This is a photo of the models and the creators of the fashion show. Only one person is missing. This her name is Kosa. Was a pity she had to go. But these are, you see, we also had men's outfits there.
Yeah.
Is that Jupiter I see there?
No, this is not Jupiter. This is Juno.
I was just going to
Because
say, he's
no,
on his own. He's surrounded by all these women.
because Jupiter, he kept saying, "Oh, I didn't design anything," but he's such an important person because he's so quick to share what he learns about stuff.
Yes,
So he's a
yes.
useful member of the community. Doesn't matter if he doesn't make the things.
Yes, and he supports very much this Ruth and Roth
Yes.
bodies. Yes, he is a fan of. But
He's
this is
gonna be on your
Juno.
show. Oh, really? That's Juno?
Hmm. And you see Spike on left hand.
Oh, there he is. Yes.
Yeah, he isn't on anymore, only for special occasions, but he did us the favor to moderate. I think, Mel, you remember 2017 when I had this fashion show, I was here too. And Spike made this wonderful moderation at this event, and so I asked him again, and he did it very well. It was funny.
I like that. I just seen that picture. It's pardon me, I'm croaking. I see other pictures like this in Second Life, but what is funny, you got a group of people, and the costumes are also different. There's there's a lot of individualism in the group when you look at it. With regular fashion, sometimes obviously fashion designers have styles and they want to show them off, but you see a whole catwalk full of costumes, and they're not the same, but they're very similar. Whereas here, I love on the colourful textures of the woman on the far left here, for example, and they're just all different. So it's great.
Original creativity is wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, another weird one.
Yes, a big size of the pictures.
I think it's the dimensions of the picture are a bit awry, but this reminds me of these wonderful mesh things that don't ever, you see them standing there and they haven't quite unfolded, is the word I use. All the bits are clumped together and you have to wait for the avatar to unfold and rest itself. But
how did you find learning to make mesh clothes? Was it difficult, Loru, to learn that?
Yes, because I needed 1 year because I'm really stubborn. Yeah, I'm so stubborn. I wanted to learn it by myself. So I watched millions of tutorials, and some are really awful and some are very, very helpful. Unfortunately, most of them are in English.
Yes,
But very, very good. And I tried, and I'm using Blender only for rigging because I have another program. It's called Marvelous Designer, and so it helps a lot. So it's I only put a button or something like this on a dress in Blender. I don't really build there. This is a dress made by Chubby, and she's also the model. And we had casual wear and gowns you saw, and this is one fantasy outfits. We had a few outfits there.
Yeah. Complete with wings. Oh, here's a bloke. Fine.
Yes, a handsome man. This is Kai from the Public World, and he's wearing a suit made by MB Creations. This is they are in Osgrid, and they are a group of people. Perhaps some of them you know: Glory Summer,
Yes.
Kev Brimmer, Logi Marabana, and they make fashion since many years. Also, they started in SL, and they offer their creations here for free. And wonderful persons.
I might check out that costume for formal occasions. Yeah, very nice. Now I guess I think there's 3 here, different sections, so to speak. This we haven't got any film of, but this, of course, is Scorpio. These are your aerial builds, aren't they? Your, spacecraft and stuff like that. So maybe you want to.
Yeah, Stormy, you really are a storm when it comes to building spaceships. I'm always so blown away when I look at how did you get so good at building spaceships?
I don't know. I just had fun playing with it. I'm fascinated by outer space, and so I wanted to make ships that you could go inside and feel like you were actually in the ship. And so these ships are massive if you've been in them, and
Yes.
yeah, and they have many levels, and it's fun because you go in there and lose yourself. You feel like you're someplace other than this world.
It's brilliant. Yeah. I love them.
So
And
all
so,
the
are you always inspired by Star Trek? Is that your start off point with your ships? Or
it's a starting off point. I think that Star Trek for me was a place where we aspire to as humans. You know, a future human where our endeavor is all peace and exploration. But I'm sorry, I have a feedback. I made the ships, I made my landscape for people to go and just explore and enjoy themselves.
now you did a cool thing with these pictures. I remember you explaining it to me that the concept on the next generation of Star Trek is that as a sort of form of rest and recreation, the crew can go into a holodeck and they can be on the ocean or they could be riding through the woods or something. So how did you make that work in World?
So look, my holodeck, you go on a ship and you go into the holodeck and you push a button, and there's a control panel, and when you push a button, you end up on one of my lower sims, which are fantasy medieval. And so that's the
So you
transport. to that.
so you teleported down to ground level. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
That's a
but it's supposed to
fantastic
be part
idea.
of- yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of people that do builds on different levels to Grace McDonough's music immersion. I think we referenced this the other week for some reason. Back in Second Life, so she sang 12 songs from an album, in Second Life it was. But on a different level, she had the environment for each song. And the important thing was everybody had to take a seat, in the round, so to speak, because every time a song finished, the whole audience and the seating got moved up to the next level. So
Right.
they're in a completely different environment. As long as it didn't stand up and mess things up, they became in a new place for each song. But here, The film I took, I'm moving now onto the middle screen where we've got some film. I think this, therefore, this is your area, and I'll just start with a bit of this. I guess this is one instance of the holodeck at work, I presume, is it?
Right, that's a kiosk also, and when you take the holodeck, it lands you there. And we're on, let's see, I think we're on Misty Isle here.
Yes, I think that was right.
Oh, this may be Tir Nanak. I'm not
Oh
sure.
no, Tirnana is the link you gave me that I didn't get to,
Right, this is
along
Misty
with
Isle. I
along with the
recognize
spaceship
this.
ones. Yeah.
Yep. And there's also places you can go from the ships. You can beam onto, I've made 3 different alien worlds. I've made Klingon, Beta Z, and
Vulcan. I remember that Vulcan
yes.
world. That's so it's so atmospheric. It's just fantastic. You really get the feeling of beyond any film you may have seen. It's just brilliant. I love it. Also, the Klingon one is very realistic. You know, you feel like you're gonna probably turn into a warrior if you stay there too long. I love it.
I have 3 space stations also you can visit, and they're all different. The one I created by myself is a spaceport, and
I'm just recalling. I've paused the thing. I'm going to move back to the slides for you, but I'm sure I don't think it's. I have any film of it. It was quite a long while ago, but we did come on a safari, didn't we? And I think it was you, Moses, were actually performing, but we were in a large part of a spaceship, a Star Trek thing, I think.
I think you
There's
were
a
in the
big
space.
combination. We looked around the spaceships first, and then we retreated to a performance in one of the spaceships. Is that right? Have I got it remembering right?
Yeah, it seems so. Yeah.
Seems so. He said that.
It's been a while. But I have performed on it a number of times on some of Stormy's builds. Yeah.
It was the spaceport, actually. It was Deep Space One that you performed at.
Ah,
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The subtle differences between Star Trek locations.
When you build it, you know that's your baby. You know every part of it. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. So I made a spaceship for each of us in ArtDestiny. So Loru's ship is USS Pisces, and that's a diplomatic convoy. And Moses' ship is the USS Capricorn, and that is a flagship. And the USS Scorpio is a medical transport. That's mine.
That's the one
And
that's up
then
there. Yeah.
USS Aquarius is a deep space exploration, and that's Tryad's ship.
Super.
I'm going to move the slides on a little bit. I think there are a couple more of the spacecraft coming up, but I just checked. They're not the ones that follow immediately on, so we'll just click away till we come to them. This, I guess, is one of Stormy's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another holodeck location.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also Fantasyland. My
Yeah.
Sims are Fantasyland.
But isn't that exactly what the holodecks are in Star Trek?
Exactly.
It's pure fantasy, and you can
Right.
change things anytime you like.
It always used to be great. I've never really been a Trekkie as such, but I remember the holodeck always seemed to be quite a thrill when I was younger, because I think there were episodes that would open up, and you think, what the hell is that starship captain doing on a horse in a medieval something? And this would go on for about 5 minutes, and it's just the right program. And then suddenly there'll be something sort of calling captain, and then the whole thing will vanish.
Right,
right. I'm coming. But yeah, I think a lot of us think with virtual worlds and say open source things like that. Someday in the future, when everything gets more realistic and our interfaces are wonderful, we'll be able to build our own fantasy worlds that we just step into. You know,
Wouldn't that be
it's
wonderful?
like a holodeck, you know.
Oh,
And you know, sort of, we can just hang on in there until somebody calls us out, because calls us up to battle stations or something. You know,
I hope not.
I don't
Oh
know why.
gosh, don't call me. I'm no good. I need
Yeah.
to spend more time on that Klingon world.
Now this looks familiar. There is. I just got to tell you a quick story. There is a great picture that came from America. I've got this somewhere for me many years ago. In fact, I think I used it when I was teaching Photoshop as something that somebody had done. I said, you must not be doing this. You know, they've taken a picture of Stonehenge. You know. But somehow in the journey to America, it had become Stonehenge on Sea. Now, if you know
Yeah.
where Stonehenge is,
No sea, no
there is no
trees.
sea for a long, long way. And
That's true.
those pictures, they are a Stonehenge, but somebody's just montaged
Well,
them.
you know what it could be? It could be like the dolmens that you find in Brittany, because quite a lot of those are by the sea. So this
Oh
could be
yeah,
more like a Brittany setting than maybe a
yeah.
Wiltshire
I've got
setting.
standing stones and stuff all over the place. You can just take them anywhere. But I always find it a big joke that it was the real Stonehenge that somebody dumped on the sea, and you know, sort
But
of.
isn't there a car henge in America? I'm sure there is with cars.
Well,
So,
that wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise
so
me.
you know,
That's in
anything is
Texas.
possible.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Really? Well, you stand the cars on end and then another one
Yeah.
on top and
There
make
you go.
What's wrong with that? That's okay.
only in America. Anyway, this is nice. This certainly isn't cars; it's actual stones, and nothing mechanical about it.
Makes me think of Brittany, though. It
Yeah.
looks, in fact, like a lot of places you see in Brittany where they have those stones, and it's very mysterious and far less commercial than Wiltshire, the real Stonehenges.
Yeah.
Far more
You know,
mysterious.
I created Misty Isle in Second Life,
Oh,
and
right.
the name of my sim was
Mhm.
Anam Kara. And
Yeah.
I found out later that the Isle of Skye is called Misty Isle. Years
That's
after I
right.
had
Yeah.
made it. So, but Misty Isle is fantasy. All of my lower sims are fantasy. Stonehenge didn't happen to pop up there.
It's
What's
beautiful.
interesting about this picture is that in pretty much every way it looks like a sort of, well, sunset probably, and the stones, and looks fairly normal. But then you've got this planet in the sky, which immediately says this is somewhere else.
Right.
Mhm.
This is not Earth as we know it, kind of thing. And you know, that brings a whole different meaning to the picture, as it were.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, good old waterfalls, eh? And the planet is here too. Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be a moon, but it doesn't
Right.
translate well, does it?
Well, I somehow, when I was looking at it, actually thought there was more into the texture that made it look like a planet rather than a moon. But then
Right.
again,
Right.
moons are planets of a sort. I mean, if this is somewhere else in space and time, you know,
That's right.
We
Maybe
can
you,
call it
maybe
anything
you,
we
it
want.
doesn't really matter. The great thing about planets and moons and things like that is you only know their distance by what you're told. You actually
Right.
have no reference for size. So in some cultures, the moon in Earth's sky, you know, could be a tennis ball that's just above your head, or it could be something bigger than the sun that's a few light years away. You know, it's
Right.
until you know or are told, when given proof of distance, you really can't be sure. Same with real world photographs. Sometimes people take photographs of, I suppose you'd say, a landscape or something, but it's just short of having any real identifying factors in that tell you how close it is or how far away it is, and that's fun. That's just a mystery of the image, really. Sorry, I'm rabbiting. Anyway, let's move on. Is
See,
the
this
planet
is what
still
the
there?
is
No,
supposed
no.
to
Now we've
do.
got an avatar.
This is an NPC I made.
All right.
Yeah.
that's
That's
cool.
Lord Sarunus. Sarunus. I
Uh-uh.
have his name right. Anyway, he's a lord of the woods and of the
He
It's a
he
Celtic
has.
god.
It must be hard for him to shop for hats, I'm
It is
thinking.
Well,
very
I'm just
hard.
thinking there's something of the bull about him. I would not want to be faced with him charging at me with his head down.
No,
I live in Italy, and horns mean something quite different where I live.
what does it mean?
It means that you might want to check what your wife is doing when you're not at home.
Oh,
Yeah, she is horny.
No,
No, that don't work. Okay, I'll pass on
well,
this.
maybe she is, but there's trouble. There's trouble in the home life.
Right. Interesting.
he was
I think
actually
I'm going
part
to
of
move
a
on
role
and
play
find
that I
something
did
else
a
to
long
talk
time
about
ago.
here.
Oh,
Right.
was it? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that's a nice
So
one.
this is another beautiful one. Wow.
This is Tirnanog. I'm probably saying it incorrectly.
It sounds good to me.
No, I think that is the pronunciation, actually.
So, do you think? Do you feel the difference? You must feel the difference where you were building in Second Life, and you're always worrying about how many prims you can use, and obviously the cost of having a sim is enormous. If you can
Yes.
if you can afford to have a whole sim, most people are probably talking about maybe half or a quarter of a sim, really, to be
Yeah.
reasonable as a
Yeah.
hobby. So, what did it mean to you when you first realized that you would have all this space to build?
Well, Loru and Tryad pulled me out here and said, "Look, this is all free," and it was hard to believe at first. And then I started creating, and I just kept creating. I'm an artist in real life, and I started getting three-dimensional artwork in Second Life, and then coming out here, my canvas just became much larger.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the film we showed at the beginning there of your, where your shops and that little landscape, it's all enclosed in that big mesh thing, which is, it's probably Phantom, but it covers a lot of space, like 5 regions or 4 or 9 regions. We used the same trick with the Hypergrid Expo, but I would never have been able to do something like in Second Life because there'd be somebody next door that surround would have overlapped or
Right.
whatever. So
Right.
it's just the sense of size. When you move around in Second Life, you're moving. I mean, there are islands, of course, and stuff like that where there's a lot more freedom and cost. But, especially on their mainland and things, nobody takes any care to make things join up and match.
No.
You just walk over a boundary and
That's
you
true.
end up in somebody else's mess. Whereas here, there's endless space to play around with, and when people do have joining regions, they'll normally like to work together to make
Exactly.
story,
Yeah.
natural and seamless.
So
So
Or you have the
I have here 2 quad sims and 2
wow.
single sims all joined together. So you just walk through, and it's Lothlorien, Misty Isle, and the Forest of Misty Isle, and then Tir na Nog. So it's huge.
yeah, we're back on the spaceship, which means the space is even huger, high up. The endless universe of Star Trek. This one is one you mentioned. This is the USS Capricorn or something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And this
Bit,
is
a
the
bit more
flagship.
detail on that. So this is all human size, isn't it? So although
is,
this
it
is a
is.
picture taken from a distance, but you
Yes.
can see where the lights are there if you zoomed in and somehow. Well, I wouldn't advise you to break the window of a spaceship, but I mean, if you could get through if you could get, you can peek in there and realize that those are all living quarters or control rooms or whatever they are. So
And if I'm not wrong, you have a few little spaceships outside, like little crafts that people can take. I remember when we
Yes,
came to
you can-
visit you. That's very cute.
Yes.
yeah,
Or you can beam up from the land, and there's a transport system on the ship. You can go to every level, and there's
and
a
all
lot
the
of
even
Pardon?
right up to even from the earliest Star Treks right up to now, this there's a kind of design philosophy behind all the ships, isn't there? That sort of
Yes.
saucer, you
Yes.
know, as in flying saucer, but with attachments and things like that. And I've very rarely seen that copied um, by any others. You know, been quite a few science fiction movies and things where they've experimented with spaceship design. Some really wonderful ones, but that that style is so unique to Star Trek. You just know it's,
Yes.
you know,
I
Star
played
Trek.
around with the style and created my own, though. When you look at the Pisces, here it is. This is
Yeah,
Loru ship. It's a double saucer. It's different. You
yeah.
know, the entry point is underneath the saucers, and it's huge. This one is a diplomatic convoy, so it's huge.
Uh,
I had
just-
to fit these ships on one sim, on the size of a sim, you
yeah.
know, because it can't overlap another sim or it'll become phantom. And I just barely could fit this one.
Well, you can sort of do it. I mean, we went to Lauren Tone's thing of 2001 ship a few weeks ago, and that actually stretches right. You know, it's like that USS Galaxy ship on in the ocean. It actually stretches across about 5 different regions.
Wow.
So they've met. You know, so when you walk the length of the ship, you're walking across 5 regions. In the case of the 2001 ship, I mean, it happens to be a psychedelic trip at the same time, you know, because
It really is. Yeah.
that's what the movie was. But you know, I went up to film it, and I thought the psychedelic bit was like a wall, you know, the end. So I turned
Right.
around and went back the other way till I got to what I thought was the other end. But actually, only after I was showing the film and had the guy say, "No, you're meant to walk on." You know, that's 5 regions worth, and yeah, I had to go back and redo it. And my God, it was a spectacle. But you
Brilliant.
could technically
Yeah.
with
Because
or with a
I have a question for Stormy. So how does this work for you then? Do you build, because they're two very different styles of building. The sci-fi type build like this, it's very mechanical, and then
Yeah.
you have the land build, which is very organic. So do you kind of flip between the two? How do you make that work? When you get fed up with one, you go and do the other, maybe, or how do you, or do you build them at the same time? You know, a
Oh,
little bit each.
I focused on the outer space part of my sim for a few years. I was just really enjoying it. I had already created the fantasy lands. And actually, Moses created a ship too. And it's just a different feel when you go out here, and where we had the concert. When you go out here onto these outer space, you feel the dimension of space. You feel like if you walk off the ship, you're falling forever.
Mm.
You're in outer space. You can actually take a shuttle and fly between ships and between the different um, spaceports, and that's over the course of the 2 quads and the 2 single sims. That's how large the area is out of space. So it gives you it puts your mind in a different state.
Yeah, but it's all one thing. That's the great thing. That it's not
It's
all
it's all
separate.
contiguous,
Yes,
and yes, and you can connect onto the with the holodeck. You go down below onto Fantasyland.
that's right. Wonderful.
yeah, I
I
made a
just
big,
want people to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
it's very what you can do with the I did a big skybox once. It was a sim height, sim wide. Everything was like a space landscape, and little bits were animated in it. But it was an exercise in people teleported up to it without realizing it. Actually, that was half the trick, and it was an exercise in making them feel disorientated. See how long they would last before they could find the way down. And it really worked. Some people just stuck. They had to teleport out of there in the end because you looked up, you looked down, you looked sideways. Everything was the same, and it's like the distancing we were talking about. You had no cue as to what was up, what was down, what was where, and
Right.
you know, people were falling over in visiprims, and suddenly they were at a different angle. It got even more confused. Oh dear. Naughty me, naughty me. No, that is a big one. Did you say this is where you did that concert we were talking
Yes,
about?
we have the
Yeah,
concert here.
yeah, because it's quite a big one there.
It's actually the smallest of the space stations.
Wow.
Oh, it's funny. It looked from this, yeah, again from the angle, it looked bigger, but yeah. So we're back on the ground here, or the holodeck. I'm not quite sure which.
It's another NPC I made.
All right.
Yeah, Gary.
Do you have you experimented with these animesh things, or are you still just focused on NPCs for characters?
I've just focused on NPCs, but I use a chat box sometimes.
Yeah.
And so you walk up to like Lord Sir Nunes, you can talk to him. He'll just start talking to you.
About his wife, I bet.
No, he's always just asking how you're doing.
Sorry, I was just kidding.
Now this is an interesting costume.
This is
Yeah, look at that.
What there is of it.
I know it's a strange shot. She's a leaf fairy.
Just imagine if she's actually moving. It's just like a trail of sparkles on the ground until you get
Yeah,
up
she's
to her
quite
chest.
pretty.
Fantastic. So I wanted to ask both Loru and Stormy and Moses too. What's the plans for the future of Art Destiny Grid? Do you have anything you're planning to do in the future? Do you plan to be growing at all as a grid? What's coming up? Is there anything coming up that we should know about?
Well, I hope to have Moses start doing concerts on a monthly basis. We're still trying to figure
Oh
out.
wow!
we're gonna
Yes,
do with
please.
But Loru is the one that really directs us. She's the one with the ideas.
No, not always. Yeah, but no, I don't have any ideas. Everything we do, it's a development. We don't. We are there, and we listen, and suddenly we have an idea, and we find people who like to realize the idea. It's so organic.
Right.
Yes,
I
yes,
believe
excellent.
that. Yes.
While
Yeah.
we're talking,
And of course your radio station idea that is taken off this year again, much the same, I'm sure. The idea is it's become organic. The people that you can involve, the people who want to listen and want to be part of it. Yeah, I love that. It's a very organic grid all round, really, isn't it? With these wonderful landscapes.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, everything is developing, everything is organic, and with Stormy and Moses, we are such a great team, and Tryad too. We are such a great team. We have a base. We all, yeah. I can't explain. Stormy, can you explain?
Well,
this,
together.
I think what we're showing on screen here, by the way, is Stormy's region, isn't it? Again,
Yeah,
one
this
more
is the
text.
village of Misty Isle. I think we work very well together, but we always have, even in Second Life, we became just close right away. So it's just carried through here.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the magic happens, doesn't it?
We're friends.
but I-
We're friends.
Yeah, but that's
I
good
use-
because it's funny. We were talking to Walter Balasic from Littlefield a couple of weeks ago, and he said something I thought was pretty interesting. He said if you're in Second Life and you're thinking about leaving, and then you're afraid to leave because you thought, well, I won't know anybody. Well, then just bring your friends to Open Sim.
Right.
Just come with your friends, and then you won't miss anybody because they'll all be in Open Sim with you. And he's got a point there.
Bring your tribe.
Yeah, and I've brought some friends over here, but I think with Loru and Tryad, we're just, it's different. We're very close. Yeah. I'm looking
Yeah.
at the picture going around and I'm like, whoa. I had just started putting this trail in. A lot of this is work I'm still working on. This is the woods in Lothlorien.
This actually is very well structured, in my opinion, because I did some stuff like this and it didn't quite work out how I wanted. Um, you've got the trees are just the right, yeah, the canopy above the trees is such that when you're in the air, you can't see under the canopy.
No,
But
no.
on the other hand, when you go under the canopy, it feels really spacious.
Yes.
Which is actually quite hard to do unless you just get lots of trees with huge spreads of thing. Sort of it's very easy to do the canopy effect, but the woods underneath tend to feel a bit claustrophobic and not enough room to move. Whereas here they're just spaced out enough that you can do the pathways and stuff. It wasn't actually till I zoomed in under there with the camera I realised there was so much underneath, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, it's made so you just walk through the land. And if you go at a slow pace, so everything reses in,
Yeah.
it's
Now there's
a
a
lot
critter.
to see.
That was a strange critter, that was.
Yeah, that's another NPC. Yeah, it's a road to Lothlorien.
It's
right
also a
there.
lot of fun to ride horses.
Yeah,
Yes,
we ride
yes,
horses
I
over
did.
there.
Good to know.
I like the good few horses here anyway. Oh, and the unicorn as well. I don't think
Oh,
he
you
was
have to have
It's
unicorns.
very animated. In fact, I think this is where I finished the clip. I just stayed filming him because he was dancing away, and I thought, oh, what a way to go out. He's dancing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Look at him.
Because
Look at him.
Moses's music is very romantic, and I see these places are very romantic too. And I wonder if there's if that's kind of both things express your common romantic feeling, your common sense of romance in art. Is that true? Would you say, Stormy and Moses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Good.
we're
Virtual romantics.
We are true romantics.
That's lovely.
I'm moving back to what have we got left of the pictures on that screen before, so we can sort of round up this bit and before we move on to our little safari roundup. So I'm just moving through the pictures here again. There's still a few to go, I think. Nice little bridge on this one, and when I see pathways like this too, they really enhance the realism. Right, there's another one. The one that sets this location apart is the surround environment where you've got basically, it's hard to say whether they're snow capped or just very cold looking, the mountains in the background.
Right, right. So it's the Dolinar mountain range, Dolamar, I think it is.
Oh, we are at the end then.
That's it.
Right, very good, very good. Okay, Thirza would know. I'm terribly bad at remembering names and who was where. I mean, I guess some of you actually come on safari, do you? You've been on
Oh,
safari.
we've had Loru with us many, many times. I think it might be a bad time of day for Stormy and Moses because you guys are in the States, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're
It's good for us because it's the evening and it works out well. But yeah, I'm always getting people say, if only you could move the safari to the weekend.
yeah.
To
It's a
which we
shame. I
say
mean,
no.
it's good for people around at lunchtime, but I mean, there's like so many people are out at work or something during
Of
the.
course, yeah.
It's we're Eastern Standard Time, so it's 4:00, 4:19 right now here.
Yeah, they're still like right in the middle of your working day, so.
Right.
Well, wait, but
Not really.
before we go, we've got a little bit of clip here from Safari during the week. We'll start off with this is Leah again. She's popping up everywhere at the moment. This was you'll see the second one we visited in a minute, but this is the first location. We all arrived. Don't know which is in the right order here. We arrived on.
So yes, what we went to was Karima Grid, the roleplay grid,
Yeah,
which
the first clip. Yeah.
that looks like it might be from the week before.
Is it?
I have a feeling that this Yerko's grid. Yep,
Oh, sorry. Right, 18th. Right, I've got
there we
one.
go.
I've got one that shouldn't
So,
be there. This was
talking about people coming from Second Life, of course, the Karima grid. They spoke to the Amazonian group from Second Life, which is a role play group. The oldest German role play group, I think, in Second Life, and that group could no longer really support itself in Second Life. The person who was paying the bills, in effect, was no longer able to continue doing that. So the whole group has moved now to Karima Grid and set up with 4 sims, very, very high quality, beautiful sims. And so they're very happy about that. But we came to visit Primus, and he showed us a little bit of the sort of the classic Karima look. We went to the harbour, and then we attempted to walk to the marketplace, and there was quite a lot. There was quite a lot of us. But I thought the incredible thing was that we didn't crash the grid, because that's what I was expecting to happen. To be honest with you.
I don't think they
But
really
we didn't. We just all waited a little bit, and then it kind of went away. The lag, we got over it.
Yeah.
So that was a lovely time.
It's funny
And
that
he's
shot
such a
near the
sweetheart.
beginning. That shot near the beginning with all the Safari people in. It's actually rather hard to tell who are the Safari regulars and who are the stiff figures.
That's right, because
They
plus there
all
were
mix
loads of
together. Yeah.
yeah, and there were loads of people from the group, the roleplay group, who came to meet us, which I thought was lovely, and they all made a huge effort to speak in English, which they didn't have to. That was very kind as well. Yeah, so it was fun. James sat in a plague cart for some reason. Why did you sit in that cart?
I remember that. So I think I saw that when he wasn't on camera, which is a shame.
Well, I had some of the worst of the lag, and so I just said I better settle down quick. And everybody was seated at the large dinner table, and so there were no seats. And I said, "Well, this cart looks comfy." And then I got to thinking, "Wow, with this time period, this isn't where they put the dead people, is it?"
Well, as soon as I realised there was lag, I went to that dining table and sat with the avatars, and then gradually more and more people came and joined me. And then towards the end, I looked around behind me and James.
James,
Well,
and you know
James,
you've got to
he
watch
always
out, because Al Scott is your rival now, because he is also sitting in weird
He was
places.
good.
So.
He was good. Yeah, he found some great spots.
That hat.
That was something.
That
right?
white hat he wears. Yeah. Fantastic. So we are due to go back to see the Amazonians next in May, I think it is. So that will be fun, because we'll finally get the chance to meet them and gauge what they think, how they think it works out to have their roleplay experience in OpenSim as opposed to Second Life. I'm curious to know how that works out, because it's quite a specific set of requirements you have when you do roleplay with costumes and everything. But they did all say the most important thing is the people. So there's Primus trying to get through that lag.
This is a great shot. All three of them are kind of
Manfully trying to.
walking on the spot, trying to get somewhere.
But we made it. That's the incredible thing. We did make it. So, and very few, not even Worley. Now, usually I can say this, he won't mind. Worley is the worst person. If there's a problem, he's immediately said, "I don't want to deal with this. I'm going." He's a sweetheart, but he's always like that. But even he managed to stick with it. So I knew that it couldn't be that bad, because if we still have Worley with us at the end of the event, things could not be really that bad. And it's such a beautiful place. There he is.
And you're
Worley.
right, Mike. You're right too. We didn't crash. I mean,
And there's Alan in that terrible hat. Oh, sorry, did I say terrible? Remarkable hat.
we remark upon it, don't we? Yes, that's the right word. Fun stuff. Yeah, but when I finally sat down and just started doing it all in camera, I was just randomly wandering around until I found places where the safari people were,
That's
picking them up
right.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very engrossing because all these, well, they're not NPCs, they're just those sort of model kind of figures that people inhabit. It's like a still painting inside the sim kind of thing. There's the table, and there I am in my corner at the beginning, and James is hidden behind me. If he's made it there, yes. I know that's. I don't know whether I ever get the camera around to him, but
Yeah, it
he's
took me a while
yeah,
to get there. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
it took the other Thurs a long time to get there too. There were two Thursers, and one made it without any problems. The other one was. And here's a cleavage shot.
Well, you were so quick to take me up on this.
No, because I have a I have a running bet with Wendy. If you do a cleavage shot, that makes us happy.
All right, fair enough. It wasn't actually a planned shot. No, this is a
I
planned
know.
shot.
Of course
It's the
not.
best one could do with the camera in lag.
I was just glad it wasn't me for a change. So.
Oh, yes, that's true. Oh dear.
Yeah, no, it's nice, and they have some cute little shops there with medieval stuff, so all very appropriate.
Yeah.
And of course, Fittish was with us. Fittish, we know Fittish Ewan. She is into role play, together with Tessa and so forth, who have been on this show. So of course, these guys all know each other because they kind of try and work together to share resources and ideas. So it was really lovely to have her there, and kind of have that cross pollination between role play groups, because that is the one thing that happens in OpenSim a great deal, that people don't know what other people are doing, and so it's lovely when there's a little bit of communication, and the different groups can benefit from each other's experience and resources.
It so brings me back to Star Trek. There's so many Trekkie groups in Second Life, OpenSim, or whatever, and sometimes they're just on their own, passionately building, and other times, it's sort of it's nice when you see two, I don't know, Trekkie role play groups sort of meet up.
Well, like Stormy, you can still have your own, like Stormy does. I love that. It's Stormy. You have developed your own style. It's in the theme of, but not sort of slavishly copying. So, but it's great to have all that mixture out there, and it comes back to what we were saying about Loru's style of clothing too. Each person brings their own creativity and their own kind of vision, and that's the variety that is the spice of life. So it's a wonderful thing. Oh wow! Look where we are now.
This is the second stop, and I just could not stop filming. I think I've actually got the sound on some of the later ones because it was just wow. Video can't really do it justice. This was the first one I fired out when I got there, basically, I think. So just 90 seconds of it took a while to get started. I wasn't quite sure what was happening. We were told to be in the middle for the best experience. Well, then most people, I later realized, went actually out into the circle where the instruments were. But there's this huge chorus line of cats, right, which had different sounds, and then there were these 3D instruments, and she was playing them all. Well, they were sort of scripted a bit too, but actually, to actually play recognizable tunes to an extent. It was absolutely wonderful.
It takes a while to preload, but it was very good.
Yeah.
And fun, because if you run amongst the instrument, you could hear the sound differently because it's all done in sounds. So.
We haven't got time to show all this lot, but I'm gonna head on into some of the other clips with sound, I think, just so you get the idea. As my camera moves towards a bit. Hello. Oh Lord, never mind. It's unfortunately I've got real lag on my desktop at the moment with playing back these things. It seems to be affecting every video. But you can certainly didn't affect the silent ones because you can't tell. But something's very funny here. But yeah, as my camera moved in to say those drums, the sound of those drums got louder, and then as I
Oh, wow.
pulled out, you
Yeah,
got
it's really worth going.
Yeah.
She's going to be doing a bunch of concerts in the future. So if you've never seen it, it's great. The video is great, but the actual personal experience of being Inworld is incredible.
Does anybody remember the Anna Music videos that
I
long
was
ago,
just-
the 90s?
Yeah, but remember, one of those anime music clips I used on the original Metaverse in Review as
Right.
as an intro. It was when we did it on webcam and way back when, and we played some of the anime music as an intro because it was just so fantastic then. But you're right, this has got so much of that feeling.
It's a little influence, right.
Yeah. The chorus line of Cats, though, was what I mean. Some of them had the same sound, but there was just so many of them, and I think, how's she figuring out which cat to click on to get what note? There she is. This is the conductor. Well, I forget her name.
Cutiolala artist.
Yeah, very cartoony avatar there, and a nice little seat she's made for herself. But she was conducting all this, or rather, playing it really. But the guy in the and not me, the guy in the other costume next to her was a major part of it too.
Yeah, Farstar. He is a great friend of Cute. They've known each other a bit like Stormy and Moses and Loru and Tryad. They've known each other from way back in the years in Second Life, and they all moved together to OS Grid, and then they opened Winxtropia, which is the grid they live on now. So yeah, similar situation. But of course, Cute, because she couldn't type while she was playing the instrument, of course, because she's on the keyboard. So that's why he was supplying some of the information for us.
Now they did actually find again. My thing is not particularly. Oh, there's yours. Let's come back a bit. Maybe not. I found they did actually post one of these on the web themselves found on the YouTube channel. I think actually I don't think it's in this set. I think I must have missed it, Fred. Yeah, I have. But it was a wonderful experience, and as I showed you the two clips at the beginning of the show, this is everybody just came away in awe, I think, of what we've seen there. I mean, it wasn't the perfect rendition of the songs, and it wasn't it was just the overall thing, recognizable songs, avatars dancing and having fun, and then this astonishing, array of strange instruments that was playing it. And the one that seemed to work best, I think, in the overall composition was the drums there. That none of them actually really looked like Caribbean steel drums, but there was one drum kit that sounded very like that, and it really sort of I don't know if you've ever been to Carnival and seen West Indian people with the steel drums,
Right.
but the sound you get is a tune, not a beat, but it's a beat as well, if you see what I mean. But depending on the way, it's like percussive, a bit like a xylophone is a percussive instrument, but it's not drums, So it's getting quite a variety of sound out of the various objects there.
It was great, and she's very kindly agreed to do a concert for us for this year's Cornflakes Week. So this will be one of our stops. Wow. Yeah, I thought you guys would like that. So
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the tip of the iceberg, isn't it, out here?
Okay. Now there was some reason, Thirza, you asked me to actually dig up one of these old Safari notes, the one about Joe and Moses, of course.
Oh, yeah, because it talks about Moses. Yeah.
So, for example, there we've got a small picture of that particular event. I knew
that was the bubble. I mean, Deep Space One.
I really loved it. I've listened to all your songs, Moses. I really love that on SoundCloud. Fantastic, really beautiful songs. It makes me think of Jim Croce. That's kind of lovely style. You're
more more cheerful than some of the Jim Croce songs, which I love. But that tone is just gorgeous. Really lovely music.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
And this is, of course, there's no sound here because it's from Thirza's old blog. But I mean, it's
We're all
a bit
dancing.
of animated dancing there, with featuring you know who,
Yeah.
or you know what, as the case may be. And yeah, they're not all animated.
It's
But
Hollow Beach.
there he is, and
Loru.
moving a little bit, performingly. Da, da, da. And of course, this is a close-up from what we did have a picture earlier. We showed you of this venue taken from a great distance, and
Yeah.
you said, "Oh, it's actually the smallest."
It is the
But
smallest.
this is what happened when we were standing, on the perimeter there. You could see through to the huge area where the concert was held. And it looks like we've got an android of some sort playing with a panel.
And I'm really excited
Oh,
to know
right,
that
now
you're going to be doing these concerts
Oh,
with
there you
Moses.
can see the ships.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind. Yeah, it's a gift, but it's without. I couldn't make it come right with the midnight sky, so.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I couldn't see them as well as I can like that, so
Yeah, that's a
apologies for the
Capricorn.
sky.
And it was.
You have to imagine that the supernova just happened right behind the
Right.
ships on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh
Oh,
my
that's-
gosh, I love that place.
Yeah. That's Vulcan.
God, right. I was just trying to think what's the connection here. Of
Just
course,
really,
me
and
too.
this one too, so atmospheric. Oh my
That's
gosh.
Klingon.
Yeah, the picture's got that kind of mist, as in the
It's
game, but also
beautiful.
as in the MI mist too.
You have a very subtle touch. I love that. It's very easy to see that you're a real life artist because of the subtlety in your work. All of you, because I know Loru will say, "Oh, she's not an artist." She is, of course, she is.
Right.
And
course
but
she
yet
is.
you're all four of you. There's such beauty and subtlety in what you do, and I think that it radiates out of everything that is your grid, and it's genuinely one of the most beautiful places I've seen in OpenSim.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very
We had
nice.
Joe. We had Joe on the same day, and now there's
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and there's Loru Destiny. Who can that person be? You've got a name tag. And yeah. Oh,
And that's
that's
basically
it. What? Yeah, that's odd. It wasn't that long ago that we. It feels like a much longer time ago when we were on that one, actually.
Yep.
Okay, well, this is right. I'll just put that into web mode. This was cute Thursday. This is Thursday's post. Cute tunes on Win Extropia. Cute is an understatement. You've just seen it on video, but here are some of the still pictures to give you a additional flavour. A bit of animation there, dancing. It's very odd. But everybody's saying, "What do you mean, my spam filter?"
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think there's a thing in Firestorm that gives you a spam filter. That's from the.
Do you know what that is, Loru?
No,
You ever heard
no.
of it?
No, never,
okay.
never. I was thinking about to.
Good, I'm not alone.
Yeah. No, I think it's to do with land audio. It checks audio feeds coming in to make sure it's not spamming you or something. I don't think it's to do with the whole environment. I think it's just to do with stream. But I may be wrong. But it's interesting.
That's Bougie Gamer Girl. She's a good friend of mine, and she was demonstrating how you can walk backward and forward. And you can't see her wonderful bouncing boobs because I got the back shot. But she was demonstrating you can walk right in the instrument,
Yeah, I know.
and you hear it differently all the time.
Yeah,
Great
I know,
Bougie.
I-
Shout out to her.
I know bouncing. But now there's a cleavage I missed. Right.
You missed it. That was the best cleavage in the whole of OpenSim, and you
I
missed
have
it.
I
can't
have
believe
witnessed it on other occasions, I've got to admit. But yes, I mean you can imagine if there's actually sound on there.
Wow.
Okay, that is not the sound that goes with the picture.
Oh,
That is an extract from the dark side of the moon, which means that James is entering his dark side of get off air.
Yeah, that's right. Just doing my
That's
job.
his very,
Right.
That's a few
very
minute warning.
subtle.
But actually, it's rather interesting that we've only just got to the 90-minute thing. But yes, if you could, if there had been sound with this, you would hear the sound coming in and out in volume as she positioned herself between.
Yeah, really brilliant. Yeah.
So yeah, here's
Can't wait to go back.
It's so cute. She looks like a puppet cartoon from. She's just
Well, because it's a Winx. Those are the Winx cartoons.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they look like.
Oh, I don't know them. But
Yeah, it's a whole like thing.
Actually, I think
She doesn't always have that avatar.
Yeah.
She has different ones, different times. But
I think
you know,
actually
that's
I've got
official Winx
I
trophy.
think the Winxes are films, aren't they? Or is
Some
it-
kind of cartoon.
Yeah, I think I may have a couple of them films. Oh, that's lovely. Now, you know that.
Yeah, that's by Yum Yum, that build. And again, a collaboration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're actually seeing what's going on outside the window. It's a panorama. You know, I don't think on any of my films I managed to pull out quite that far because maybe I did, because you got a color differential as you move through the so-called glass. You know, but that's a great shot. So,
Again, brilliant collaboration of
oh, the hand.
Yum Yum.
That was another.
And Cute making it, and Farstar explaining it, and Bougie doing her thing and showing how everything worked. So yeah, great collaboration between the four of them. There she is. That's Boo.
There we go. Yes, and there she is.
And then we are dancing.
And I think Lyra's hidden behind you there.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're there. Yeah. Very good. And I think James is over here somewhere. But I keep making a blank screen here. And you
Oh,
know,
and see,
you know-
Whirly also
you
trying
know-
to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whirl-
he's
whirling
taking over the
around-
James slot.
whirling
Inappropriate
around in the
standing and
house.
sitting.
Sitting. That's right.
Oh, there she is again. That's so cute.
She's a genius.
And the final, oh god, January 19th. This. Oh right, this was the other stop. We've already seen this on film, but we might as well just have a quick butchers of the pictures. So especially as on the film there was
Yes,
so
I
much,
think so.
there was so much lag. Actually, the still pictures have probably got the advantage here. Actually, is
Primus. Is that right? How you say it, Loru? Do you say Primus or Primus?
Primus.
Oh, okay.
Primus, der erste, the first one.
Primus Prime.
We've
Yes,
we've
yeah.
The Karima Palace.
there's a band in the
The-
United States called Primus, which I think people
Yep.
hear that here. Yeah.
It's Latin for first one.
Yeah.
That's the Amazonian sim. Yeah, this is this new thing of these 4 sims that are these people who've come out of Second Life a few months back. And this is one of their sims. Yeah, very pretty. Lovely place.
Oh,
And there's a bunch of people. Oh, there's Forest and there's Lavia. They couldn't move at that point, but they moved afterwards. They
Yeah.
had a moment where they were in the lag.
that's
It's so pretty. You just look around and cam around. It's just
look.
as easy.
Somebody's sitting. That isn't James. That isn't James. But somebody did get it definitely wrong.
That's
on that.
Alan.
Alan.
That's Alan. Yeah.
These are some of the indoor shots, of course. There's the table again. Oh, okay. I must be right off screen here. I must change.
I think I just missed you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think James is on the floor.
I was trying to get the beer in. I was focusing on
You got
the important.
You got the
oh,
pig.
roast pig.
That looks actually quite appetizing. That soup. I'm
It
vegetarian.
does, yeah.
I'm vegetarian, so I don't know about the pig, but the soup looks.
That's okay. You don't have to eat it. We'll eat it for you.
Yeah, I figured it might. Here's another close up. Well, I hope you got a picture.
These are the guys. Those are the guys that live on Karima. There are various role players.
Yeah, there are a lot of role players around there too.
There's Lucy and Forrest.
And there's James. But
And there he is, the man himself.
I think behind the fence. No, it's the table. No.
This is the before shot. I think I got an after shot.
There's the close.
There it is.
That's not James, but that's here's James
That is.
Yeah.
taking his little seat there, and this is just somebody whose pose has gone all wrong.
I'm not dead
That's
yet.
Alan.
They tried to sit on a non-sittable object. Very streamlined that. That's the work involved in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. We just had a little bit of lag because there was just so many of us.
Yeah.
So, and you can do a tour starting at that castle. There's a tour laid out so you can see all the sites, and these are just the various people from the roleplay group.
Back at the table there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we've got those final pictures up and this, and yeah. Well, that's about it. I'm not going to play any of this now, or I am, but it's about half an hour long. But Thirza discovered this and immediately sent the link to me, and I don't know how I missed it. It says somebody I subscribed to, and it was about 2 weeks ago, but I never somehow saw it. But this is a place called Friar Park, which is the Beatle George Harrison's house rendered virtually. And this is actually a whole 30-minute machinima. And just to give you an idea, and not a good day to play it anyway, too much stuttering on the stream. Okay, we'll just go through it, but this is like the public road. Going into it, complete with a drunk with a... Yeah, there he is, hanging outside. And Henley and Thames, this is in the UK here. But, this whole build is a tribute to George Harrison, really.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a historic garden that he restored. So, and Mud has combined it with some really great music. So what we'll do is maybe we'll get Mal to put the link to this video in the comments so that you guys can go and watch it. It's just very beautiful and very philosophical too, because George Harrison said that he hated really to leave Friar Park because he had the world doesn't make sense outside the gates of his house. So it's a very beautiful place. What Mud Puddle has done is built the garden. He hasn't built the actual house itself. He's left that alone. Because the widow of George Harrison still lives in it, and it's a private house. But the garden had always historically been open to the public, so he was able to use a lot of historical sources to find out what it looks like and use real pictures. So although he's added some fantasy elements of his own to the build, obviously, most of it is actually very close to the reality that you would see if you went there. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place.
So this is, on YouTube, he is Mud Puddle, which is very easy to remember. Think of that slimy stuff on the ground and the wet stuff on the ground. So you've got the mud and the puddle.
And the puddle. He's not slimy at all, though. He's very nice.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get him in and he could just talk us over the whole film. But while I was at his site, of course, we found this one too, which was, this is also far too long to show now, but you could tell he likes the Beatles.
Oh, nice.
Know what this is, anybody?
Yeah.
It's Nowhere Land.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, and all these regions are visitable, and they're all on Littlefield Grid. So, Friar Park is one. It's actually not called that. So, check the details in the comments to get the correct address. And then this is Pepperland, and there's Pepperland 2. So, there are 2 sims that you can visit to see the Beatles.
Nice.
Or 3 altogether.
Wonderful.
There's a chap, I don't think he's with us in Open Sim anymore, but he used to have a Liverpool radio show. But he did a build. Actually, it was on one of my regions on Great Canadian Grid, I think. I gave him a place to build a studio. And but he had another region where he'd actually built the whole district with the Cavern Club, as it would have been in sort of the early 60s. It didn't have any Beatles in it, but it had everything else. A recreation. So a lot of Beatles fans out here recreating the life and times of the early folk. Anyway, I think that's it for now. The alarm went off, so as usual, I decided to overrun by 15 minutes. Except it's not quite that. We've done quite well. We've done quite well. The alarm came a lot later than I thought it was going to. So I thought we were going to be short for a while. So I think we better call it a wrap now. But thank you for all this. Thank you for coming, Loru Destiny.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah.
I have to say it's so fantastic what you are doing for the OpenSim community. You, Mel Burns, and Thirza, of course, and James, because that you inform, that you tell about what is happening in OpenSim, and that everybody who wants can see these fantastic creations. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it was our pleasure, I think. Really.
Indeed.
We love doing it too. So also thank you to Stormy Scorpio. Thank you, Stormy.
Thank you.
Promise you'll come back, Stormy.
I will. I promise.
We will have you back in spacecraft mode.
Yes.
Okay.
Or should I say Trekkie mode?
Whatever.
We'll build an outer space studio or do something here. And thank you also to Moses Ray, and really looking forward to, we have to arrange something to get you do an interview about the music and maybe get you to perform a couple of numbers. We'll have to set up a stream or something. But an old friend of mine, Slim Warrior, who's one of the first musicians in Second Life, we used to do music, she had a show on in Second Life at one point, which we did, and the first half will be an interview with an artist, and then the artist would actually perform a couple of numbers acoustically too. And we tried doing it in Second Life at one point, but it was awkward. You have to actually find a way to switch to a live stream, but using Discord these days, I think it's actually become rather useful. So, but all that is for the future. But that'd be really great too.
Yeah, I think I could set up something for that. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, so thank you, Moses, too. And the dog's there. No, doggy. Thank you, doggy. You behaved. Right. So with that, also thanks for help with all the button operations. And he is sitting, of course, as usual. Thank you to James Atlloud.
Oh, you're very welcome. I enjoy it a lot, Mel.
Yeah. And of course, thanks as ever to my co-host, Thirza Ember.
Thank you, Mal. Thanks for a great show.
Yeah. Now, we don't really advertise what's going on in advance, particularly. It would change anyway. I don't know whether Thursday will have time to pop in at all next week, but the week after, I certainly know she's away. And the plan is to have Slim Warrior as a guest next week, and to be a guest co-host the week after, if you see what I mean. So if Thursday makes it next week, she can help me interview Slim, and then the week after, Slim can co-host. She's very good at it, but it's a long time since we did it. So the last show we were on together was called Grumpy Old Avatars, which was
great show.
In Second Life many a time ago. But apparently she's been watching all the replays to get back in the mood.
Great.
But I don't think we're going to be getting grumpies here, but maybe
We're never grumpy.
We'll be a bit more light-hearted than usual, to put it that way. Anyway, so that's it. It's a wrap. So thank you to all the guests. I've just named them all. And as always, I wish you a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, or indeed a good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And we're out of here. Bye-bye.